Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I decided I just wanted to do a little bit of a story time video. I know previously I have done a story time on like my worst doctor experience or something, and I'll link it. I wanted to kind of put a little disclaimer out there because this also is about a terrible psychiatrist experience. I don't want to make anyone nervous or afraid to go to the doctor or the psychiatrist or anywhere they need to go because of these stories, because at the end of the day, like, I didn't let those couple bad experiences stop me, and I did end up finding people that were right for me, that I felt comfortable with. I don't want these stories to ever discourage anyone from seeking any type of help, whether it's physical or mental, that they may need. So please, again, I don't want these stories to discourage you. They didn't discourage me. I kept going until I found my perfect fit of doctors, and hey, it takes a village, right? So without further ado, let's get started into this story. So I actually started seeing a therapist, and this was a lot to do with my postpartum depression, anxiety, and the different things that came after having a baby. So I did, you know, if you watched my past bad doctor experience story, that was kind of my first step. I moved on. So I ended up finding a therapist, and it was really just, or I should say, I ended up finding a psychologist, and it was really just like, you know, what does my insurance cover? Who does my insurance cover? And luck of the draw. Me and this psychologist hit it off very, very well. Just to throw in there, because I can never remember, psychologists are the people that talk to you and that, you know, help you, guide you, whatever, but they cannot prescribe you any type of medication. So I just want to clarify that for the relevance of the story. Anyway, so I met this psychologist, and I thought she was amazing. I really was able to open up to her. I was able to relax around her. I was able to be myself. I was in a really bad place then with the postpartum depression, anxiety, OCD, all that stuff, and she did decide that I should see the doctor. They do have like an in-house doctor that works with them, so the psychologist and the psychiatrist is the one who can prescribe the medicine. They kind of work hand in hand in your treatment plan, and it involves like psychotherapy, which is speaking and talking to the psychologist, as well as speaking and talking to the psychiatrist and getting prescribed medication based upon what your needs and reactions are. So to me, it sounded like the dream team. I have both of them under one roof, and I can go ahead and begin to get started on my path to healing. I do want to add that I did describe an experience, an attack I had when I was younger, and I did describe the assailant to the psychologist, and when she did send me to the psychiatrist, she did pick the one that very closely resembled the exact description I gave her of the perpetrator, and that person really had a big impact on my life, in not a good way. So I was kind of questioning that when I first met this doctor, why she would do that. I don't know if she just wasn't thinking about that, like if that wasn't a thought in her head, or then I thought maybe she was thinking about it and she was trying to teach me that everybody is not this guy, is not that bad guy. So I did go and I did see him, and the first time I saw him, I really did like him. I thought he was a nice guy. He seemed easy to talk to. He seemed pretty down to earth. Things were going really, really well at first, and this is while I was losing the large amount of weight that I did lose in the past. By this point, I'd already lost a lot of weight. I wasn't where I am currently, but I had already lost a lot of weight. So I was still losing while I was seeing him. when I'd see him, he started to do this thing where he wanted me to walk in the room and spin around in a circle. And I thought he was trying to like build my self-esteem, like, because that's something that I do kind of deal with. I never really thought much of it. I'm a pretty easygoing, laid-back person. I don't really get uptight about a lot of stuff, so I never really thought much of it. Every visit he'd asked me to spin, and then on one visit he asked me to spin, and he said, "Oh, you're finally getting a little bit of a booty back there." And that's when I was kind of like, First of all, I don't have a butt, just for reference. I don't want anyone thinking that I'm rocking a booty, because I'm not. However, I just want to say, like, that was kind of like the second I was kind of like, okay, well, that was a little unprofessional, but, you know, I'm all about just being you and, like, you know, talking like you and acting like you, and you don't, you know, not being someone else. So I'm like, okay, well, he's just trying to build my self-esteem, and that is it. So then he started asking me questions to do with my sex drive, with my sex life, and stuff like that. And of course, I was an adult, so I mean, this, you know, was fine to talk about in therapy. It's part of life, it's part of marriage, it's part of who you are. So we would talk about it. He would start to give me suggestions on things I should do to seduce my husband, which made me feel really uncomfortable. He started to ask me to try these things and then to let him know how they worked. I never did, because I just felt the whole thing was ridiculous and was uncomfortable. I didn't need to be doing that. I wasn't playing games with my husband. Me and my husband were fine. Like, I didn't want to be playing these games. So, you know, I had asked, and I'd just say, yeah, I really haven't, yeah, done it, blah, blah, blah. And I thought that was really weird. I mean, when I say that, he wasn't getting, like, into graphic details about things. I might as well just tell you what he told me. He told me, that if I ever wanted extra attention, to wear a sweatsuit around for a week or two, and then all of a sudden to lose the sweatsuit and to like prance around in something skimpy. And yeah, so that's what he told me. I found that was really weird. I found it inappropriate in a way, but again, I'm laid back. I'm just like super chill most of the time, so I'm like, whatever, yeah, like, not gonna do that, but whatever. Maybe some of these suggestions or orders are tactics to help me in certain aspects of my life that I didn't quite connect, because I'm not the doctor here. But I didn't listen to him, and he would sometimes get a little aggravated that, like, you know, I wasn't, like, cooperating, so to speak. So what finally was the straw that broke the camel's back was the one time I was there for a session, and we were talking about something totally unrelated to sex. And I do want to just throw in here real quick that I did not, and I have not, and I probably will not, talk to my, at the time, psychologist about how I felt about this psychiatrist. So, yeah. I should have. I was afraid to stir the water. I don't know. I was afraid. So, anyway, things finally just crossed the line too much for me the one time when we were ending me and the psychiatrist were ending our session. We weren't talking about anything to do with, like, my sex life or drive or, you know, anything like that, because these pills can affect things like that. So that is a reasonable topic of discussion, but to an extent, of course. So we weren't talking about anything like that, and we kind of closed out the session, and, you know, he ended his little tape recorder, and he kind of just leaned over to me and he said to me, "Before you go, can I ask you something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure," not thinking anything of it. And he's like, he looked me dead in the eye and he's like, "So how do you keep men from staring at your breasts when you talk to them? Because I'm a professional, so I know how to make eye contact. However, every now and then I let my peripheral vision expand. And I was like, wait, did he just tell me he was looking at my boobs? Is that what he just told me? I was like, and I was just so shook that I was just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have that problem. Like, I don't have that problem. And he was like, oh, but you do. And I'm like, no, I don't. He's like, well, then you just must not notice it. And I'm like, then I must not notice it. And so it's not a problem then in that case. And, yeah, bye, see ya. And, that really left me uneasy because I felt like that was not something that was appropriate. Whether I was in there in nipple pasties or not, I mean, I don't feel like that was an appropriate thing to say. It made me feel ashamed for wearing a slightly lower cut shirt. It made me feel like it, I don't want to say like it was my fault, but you know, it did kind of make me feel like, okay, no, you know, but in reality it wasn't. Like I said, if I was in there in nipple pasties, he should not be saying stuff like that to me. And I unfortunately still went back to him a couple times, and then I did leave. I did find a new doctor, a new psychiatrist, and a new therapist who are amazing. And it was sad because I did really like my old psychologist there, but it just wasn't going to work out. I actually did end up hooking back up with my therapist that I had when I was in high school, senior in high school. So she knows me so well, and I know her so well, and I absolutely love this woman. She's more to me than just a therapist. And I have a new doctor. We have a great type of relationship where we can talk, we can joke with one another. He never crosses the line. He is never inappropriate. Yeah, so that is my story about that. And again, you know, I always feel guilty because I always feel like looking back, I should have done more. I should have done more. But I mean, I was really soured at that point. It's not an excuse, but I was really soured at that point from my experience with my last doctor and how he spoke to me, and when I tried to report him and I went through all these steps, and like the outcome of that was basically nothing. And I was afraid of causing a lot of waves. And again, I don't tell these stories to discourage anyone from going and seeking the professional help that they need. If anything, these stories are to just make it known that if you do go and you do seek, whether you're looking for a PCP or a psychologist, psychiatrist, a gynecologist, prostateologist, you know, whatever it may be, to realize that you might not always find the right doctor on the first try, and that is okay, because everybody is not a fit for everybody, and that's just life. It's important that you don't neglect your mental, your physical health. So with that being said, guys, I just want to thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. 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 Bye.